morning, Pin, and everybody else that's going to pop over. I know I'm on before my start time, but I wanted to just go ahead and turn it on because I know we're all ready to just jump to the next one. But I won't start on the project until the 8:45. But I will share while we're waiting on folks. And before I get started, I made one of Tanya's little dolls. And I used the DMC floss that has been on one of those white, it had been on one of these for years. And so she looks like she had a rough time at a party the night before, so bear with her. But here's my little dolly that I made with Tanya. And what I attached her to is a fishing swivel, because then when you hang it off, she wiggles. So if you've got somebody in your life that fishes, see if you can snag a couple of these out of their fishing tackle box, because this is that's all that is a fishing swivel. So yeah, and when you use them, then they wiggle a lot. Well, good morning, everybody. It's a full house. I'm not going to do individual welcomes because there are so many people here. Welcome to all 43 of you. And we'll get started here in a couple minutes. Well, go ahead and do okay, there. Tippy's done his cameo. Here's Tippy. You got to go somewhere else, honey. I'm sorry. Go on, Tip. Go lay down. So I will just describe what Wikipedia calls love beads. On Wiki, it says, love beads are one of the traditional accessories of hippies. They consist of one or more long strings of beads, frequently handmade, worn around the neck by both sexes. The love bead trend probably evolved from the hippie fascination with non-Western cultures, such as those of Africa, India, and Native America, which make common use of similar beads. So that's what these are. And I got this at a thrift store, and it fit perfectly with today's project. So we'll just let him hop over out of the way. And these are just some little felt hearts. So we'll get those out of our way. So you can see the necklaces I've already made. So these were all made with thrifted beads. I'm in close now so that when I start showing you guys how to do these, which is super easy. Yeah, that's why I'm in close. But this one, I added some heart beads on it. There's a red heart and a blue heart and a pink heart. And these were a little bit bigger beads than those, but they were multicolored. So you can see these two I made one day with the fatter beads. And then these two I made the other day, a day before that. And the beads are a little bit smaller. But it's so easy to find these beads at the thrift store. Sometimes you'll find them in a little bag like that. And sometimes you'll find a mix like this. I got all of these thrifting. They were all mixed together like this already. You could use the bugle beads, but they have, when you have them stranded all together, I find that their edges are a little sharp. So I focus just on the little seed beads, the little fat guys like that. Well, you can't see him on my hand. It just goes away. But I've got all kinds in here, different sizes. And I thought this could be a fun project. There's a green one, but you can't hardly see it. And you know what I was going to do? I was going to get one of my blue trays to pour some of this out so it's easier. And we'll do one. We'll see how much time we have. So it's good enough time to get started. I got to go around here and get one of my little blue trays to put some beads out in. And I just give myself a pile to work with. All right. So these are what we're going to make. All right. Now, as far as tools, you can make these. If you're making them really, really long, you don't need to add the clasp like this. This is just one of those where you, you feed the bar through the circle like that. I like this kind preferably to the kind that's screw together or magnetic, because I find once you get the bar through, they hold. But if your strand is long enough, you can just put it over your head. Like this one really probably didn't need a clasp. That'd go over my head easily. So keep that in mind. But I will show you how to do one with a clasp in case you want to make one shorter that's more like a choker. So you will need, let's move the necklaces over and the beads over just a little bit. If you're going to use a clasp, you're going to need crimp pliers, and they've got two places on here. The one closest to the plier is the one that crimps. The one closest in here crimps in that section. And then the second curved area is the one that rolls it over and locks it in. And that's also the one on the outside is the one you use to put your crimp bead covers on. And I'm going to show you what they are. You're going to need some wire cutters. And I'm going to need to lose this sweater because my body temperature goes up immediately as soon as I stand up. I made these with tiger wire. It's in the jewelry section. I think this came from Walmart. It's got like the Walmart label. You just have to be careful. Once you open it, it comes unsprung. But it's just a wire that you can make necklaces out of. So we'll get some of those. I mean, you can use string, but I think this is more durable. Let's see here. That's probably long enough. So we'll cut off a piece. These clippers have seen better days. There we go. All right. Then you need, hang on just a second because these are tiny. If I can get them out of here. Okay. I don't know if you can see it, but right there, that's a crimp bead. You're going to need two of those. And then a lot of people say you don't have to use the covers. I just like to use the covers. So then there's little covers that go over it. And it's like the letter C. And after you crimp the bead on and fold it over, then you can put this around it and it makes it look more like a bead. Just another bead on there. See? That's how you get that look. Because that's a crimp and a crimp cover on there. You'll need two of each of those. But to get started, we only need the one. I'll go ahead and get another set of them out. Let's see. That's actually two covers stuck together. They're so tiny, and I've got them in a little tiny little pocket on this organizer. And there's a cover. All right, so the first thing you're going to do, and welcome again to everybody that's come in. And I just want to get going because once I start stringing the beads, then I'll be able to watch. Okay, so you take your crimp bead, okay, and you put the crimp bead on the wire. Then we're going to get our, I guess I'll use this one. This is really too big. Well, I guess that's what we're going to use. So whatever you're using for your closure. All right. So you take 1/2 of that. It doesn't matter which one. And we're going to put the wire through the ring on the closure. You're going to take your wire and flip it back and go back through the crimp bead. And work your crimp up You don't want to be really, really tight on it, but you do want to come up close to there. So leave it so this can wiggle a little bit. You don't want it really tight because then it doesn't work quite properly. All right. Now we're going to take the first section. And when I say first section, I mean the first section from the pliers up. There's a groove there. We're going to go there. And we're going to go on that bead. Don't get your skin. And we're going to pinch it. Really tight. Pinch it. Okay. And what that does is it flattens the bead around the wire. Then you take the other one. So you're coming in on the sides. And you just fold it over on itself like that. All right. So it's all sealed up in there. And technically you could leave it like that. I know you can't hardly see anything on here. But I like to take and put the cover on, and you take your crimp, that bead that you just crimped, and slide it inside the circle, and keeping it aligned is the tricky part. Then you're going to take your pliers and use the one that's farthest out to the point, and you're going to close it up, and see, it makes it into like a ball, like a bead. And I can see it went a little crooked. See if I can pinch it a little bit more and get it to close up. Yeah, there we go. That's better. And now the little wire that's left here, I'm going to chop that off up kind of close to the crimp. All right. See, it's all connected now. It's hard to see. Sorry, guys. All right, Becky, are the pliers called crimping pliers? Yes. Yes, ma'am. These are crimping pliers. Crimping pliers and a cutter. What I don't like when you go to like Michael's or somewhere and you buy a jewelry making kit, they never include the crimping pliers. I'm out of frame. I'll be in frame here in just a second. But yeah, you just have to, when you put that cover on, you just keep pressing it. You don't want to press it too hard because then it'll overlap and it won't be smooth and it'll be scratchy on your neck. So I might bring you all closer this way so I'm not stretching my back out. How about that? Let's see if that even makes it better. So now we're ready to string beads. And because this is a wire, you don't even need a needle. It's pretty sturdy, this tiger wire. So now I'm just randomly picking up seed beads. Just hit it on the edge and it'll pop right on it. And you can go from different sizes. I'm not using the bugle beads. It'll go through the hole in the bead, use it. I mean, they're thrifted beads. Looks like we need some red. There's a ladybug. We could stick that ladybug on there. If I didn't have these bugle beads in here, I could just run this wire around and pick things up. But because the bugle beads are in here, they kind of stop me from just scooping things up. And it's kind of just a random beading, but you know what? You could think up a pattern and just repeat it. So like you could do red, yellow, blue, red, yellow, blue. And then you're welcome. I just wish I was in better focus. We'll do another crimp on the other end, of course, to put the This is just something you can do while you're like listening to a movie or something. And the tiger wire just makes it so much easier than trying to mess with a needle and keep track of the needle and all that stuff. I'm trying to look up at the chat every once in a while. So if there's any questions, I'm looking at chat and see it starts filling up and getting pretty. And it's just random colors. See, I got 2 that time. Like I said, if this was all just seed beads, you could kind of just run it through a pile of seed beads and it would pick up some randomly. There's all kinds of beads in here. This was just a mixed bag. Actually, it was a Tupperware like that at the thrift store for like $2. And that's why I like thrifting, because I can get things like this and make pretty things out of them. And every once in a while, I'll look at my strand. And if I've gone to doing too much blue, I'll like put in a color or a white bead or something to break it up a little bit. That one seems to have something in the middle of the bead. Let's see. I was listening to Laura talk about how she didn't know she could do throwback. And it's throwback to your lifetime. To me, it's whatever was the craft during like your childhood or whatever. You don't have to go way back. Of course, the love beads were what, the 60s and 70s? But that's because I was a kid in the 60s and 70s. So for her, plastic canvas was her thing. And I told her, I said, you just go for it because that's your retro throwback craft. My son was a kid in the 90s. It's going to be kind of strange around here for the next week or so while Scott's getting trained. Now, see, I picked up a black one, and I'm just going to let it go because Scott will eventually be on second. So Greg and Scott will be on the same shift. But for this first week, he's looking at working days. So we've got to be up. He's got to be to work at 7 a.m. I was like, really? After 5 years of second shift, this is going to be tricky. Of course, I used to have to be to work at like 3 a.m. on Wednesdays and 5 a.m. the rest of the time. So I can do early mornings. In fact, my body prefers it, but to get switched back is the kicker. I'm just glad he's found a position. Hitchhiking. Yeah, probably not the safest form of transportation, but everybody did it in the 60s and 70s, didn't they? But, you know, I don't think there was as much craziness. I think people get too many ideas from the internet that have an illness that's not being treated. And so I think that's some of why things have become so dangerous. Of course, there was all kinds. Oh, there's a bead inside the hole. That's why I can't pick that one up. I might have to get a pokey tool, get that out of there. So, but like everything, there's a positive and a negative, a light and a dark. That's how balance is formed. And we just have to adjust to remain safe. Adjust our balance. That's what we need to do. Adjust our balance. I would not hitchhike in this day and age, that's for sure. Thanks, Mary. I'll tell him. He's back in the back shaving. I'll be glad when our bedroom's available again and we can just sleep back there. I'll sleep better. The neighbors next door, they leave their back porch light on all night, and it shines right in our bedrooms because our bedrooms are all on that side of the house. How am I doing on time? Oh, it's only 9:02 and I go to 9:15. I'm probably not going to get to the other crimping, but you do the same thing. When you get to the other end and you've strung this full of beads, you will slide your crimp bead on, put your other end of the clasp on, and do the same thing. You just have to be sure that when you do your turn to go back through the crimp bead like that, that you're coming down closer to your beads with the whole loop and the connector and everything, so you don't have a great big stretch of wire. So see how it's tight on both ends? Not really tight, but as close as I could get it and still have it movable. You just don't want an expanse of wire exposed. I hope that makes sense. You know, I see some people walking and they look cold and wet, but I don't dare pick them up because you don't know if they're, you know, safe or not. It's kind of scary. But back in the day, people traveled that way. Hitchhike, jump trains, all that kind of stuff. I'm sure there's still people that do it, but I personally would not. I didn't get very many colors out when I poured this out. If the bugle beads weren't in here, this would be so much easier, but I'm using what I have. And it's not too bad. Whoops, I sent that one flying. The other day when I was working on these and I was sorting through my other beads, I got beads all over the floor. Greg went to Publix last night and this woman jumped in his car. He had unlocked it to put his groceries in. And I guess he looked like the man that was supposed to be coming to pick her up. And he told her, he said, "Look, lady, I'm not who you think I am." So he pulled his mask down. He said, "Do I look like the man you're waiting for?" She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And then he said, "Mama," he said, "I know I drive for Lyft and all, but people will just jump into whatever car pulls up without even looking. They just jump in the cars." And we had a young woman here did that down near USC. And the guy that picked her up murdered her. So pay attention and make sure they have the emblem in the window. Make sure you check to see what the car is supposed to look like that's picking you up. Young people are too trusting. They just are. I guess that's when you say you go through your stupid years where you make dumb mistakes and you don't want to listen to anybody older than yourself. That's the kind of thing that'll get you in deep trouble. You could end up with somebody that's going to do harm to you. I thought I had picked it up. There we go. So be more careful. Be more alert. That's the thing about the telephones. Everybody's so glued to their phone, they're not aware of their surroundings at all. So be safe. That is right, Laura. You quit doubting yourself, girl. You're talented too. And I appreciated your conversation yesterday during your live. And I didn't mean to bring up any triggering points or anything with anyone. I hope I was not out of line. that was something I was going to try to run and get it so I could show it to Laura. But I'm not going to have time to do that. I'll show it another time. But when Greg was little, I did bunny rabbit Easter baskets out of plastic canvas for his entire 4-year-old kindergarten. I think that was the 4-year-old kindergarten age. And we made all kinds of bunnies, white bunnies, chocolate bunnies, some that were chocolate and white. And I kept the one I had made that Greg got. So it's back in a trunk somewhere. Plastic canvas was a big thing in the 90s, that's for sure. Remember the tissue box covers and all of that? Thank you, Laura. All right, how am I doing on time? It's 9:08. I'm supposed to be off here by 9:15. See if I can hurry up and get some beads on here. I mean, watching me bead something must be like watching paint dry, but I'm out of the frame again. Linda needs a shoe to throw at me. You're out of frame, woman. Move back. All right, I'm grabbing all the fat beads because I'm trying to hurry. Need to put a few of the skinny beads on here. But again, this is one of those things where, like, if you're just listening, I do a lot of listening and I'll chime in every once in a while. But most of the time I'm doing something while I'm watching someone. And then I'll just see where they've moved to in the process of their project. And then I'll look back down and do this for a while. And these are fun to make. I think my little nieces would love some of these. When I was little in the early 70s, because I was born in 64, the arts community was everywhere. You know, it's probably the hippies but we would go and see what everybody was doing. And I can't remember the name of it, but everybody does these flowers with nail polish now. But back in the day, they had like this kit. And one booth at this craft event that my grandmother took me to when I was real little, because it was in the neighboring community and we just went to visit, you know, with everybody set up. We didn't have any money to buy stuff, but we got to go and look at all the pretties. And one lady, her whole booth was nothing but those flowers where you fold the wire petals and then you dip them. Yeah, you dipped them in the plastic. That was her entire booth. And then another lady was doing lampshades out of egg cartons. And she'd do lampshades and trash cans. I can't remember what all was there. And I was real little and I remember all this stuff. People say children don't remember, but they do. You have those memories. Now, my sister says she has no memories of her childhood. And that makes me sad because that means something horrible, you know, must have happened for her to erase her memories. And that's just wrong to do things to children that make them erase their memories, even the happy ones. That's what makes me sad. But that's going down that rabbit hole again. It's just been a lot on my mind lately because of family situations and how I keep getting dragged in, even though I don't feel a part of it, you know. Another story, another day. This is coming together good, though. But basically, everybody's beliefs are formed from their life's experience. And if you don't want to listen to somebody else's life experience and why why they believe what they do, then there can be no healing and no understanding. Well, that's true. Kathy Berg is next. Okay, it's 9:12. Let me show you what I got so far. And I'll just keep going while I watch Kathy. And Kathy said I could go until 9:20. Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to hold her up, but I'll go until a little after 9:15 then. And I'm not going to get these strung in that much time if I don't just focus on it. I'm having trouble with my eyes today, of course. I went and cleaned the eye drops residue off my lashes and thought I'd be able to see a little better. I'm having trouble. I think it's because of lack of sleep. The cats kept us up. We have got to get a cat door put in so they can run out on the porch and run in on their own without our assistance. They have boxes in here. That's one of my daily tasks, is to take care of litter boxes. You're supposed to have so many litter boxes to the number of cats you have. We have 6 litter boxes for 6 cats. A litter box per cat. According to a lot of sites I've found, they say to have more than that, which I'm like, that's enough for me to keep up with. What's funny is the ones here in the house, Tippy has taken over, and those are his litter boxes. And he has one that he does number 1 in and one he does number 2 in, and he doesn't seem to mix them. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never had a cat that would like choose which do you do. I guess maybe he's just a neat freak and he wants everything in order. I don't know. It's funny how the cats all have very different personalities. I went to get in bed and I posted a picture of it, and I'm like, I am never going to be able to lay down like this, because I had Tippy on my belly up toward my chest, and then Howard was on my lap and Callie was on my feet. I could not move. I said, I am locked in. And then they got Scott, and Howard laid on my knee so bad my torn meniscus was hurting this morning. I was like, don't you mess that up, dude. I've been pain-free from that for months now. But then the doctor said the cortisone would wear off. That's true, Barb. Nobody knows what goes through a cat's mind. This is a funny story. Scott was in the recliner, asleep or trying to, a couple nights ago. And at the cat crazy hour, they all started running around. And Howard jumped up on the back of the recliner and cocked his head and looked at Scott like, what are you doing? Scott said he about died laughing. Howard is such a personable cat, and he loves you to talk to him, and he'll work his mouth like he thinks he's saying people words. He said, you all can speak cat, so I'm going to try to speak human. So this is going to be a fun day. Well, it's 9:16. So I'm going to wrap it up, and we'll all go to Kathy Berg and watch her. And I will finish this up and put the other crimp and the crimp cover and the other end to the closure. I need to get some smaller closures. This is almost too big for this necklace. Let's see, that got 2. There we go. So I want to thank you guys so much. And I'm sorry, I'm so kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's the shininess of the beads that are making the camera mess up. But anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm having a blast with this hop as always. So thanks to Meri for getting us all roped together and getting our titles in that we're going to do. And let's all head over to Kathy. Did somebody put a link to Kathy? There it is up top. Mary just put one in. Okay, guys, thanks. Bye.